Hey, what's up, guys? Alright, so most of the chapter basically just focused on the fight between Mereoleona and the Five Elves. And for the most part, the fight was kind of pretty much dead even up until like the very end of the chapter. Actually, no, I would even argue at the end of the chapter the fight's still kind of even with neither side having the upper hand. Because for the most part, neither side actually able to land a significant hit on the other until the very end. Now, I do gotta say though, I actually was kind of impressed with the fodder characters that showed up at the end of the last chapter in this chapter. Just because I honestly thought that the three of them were brought in just to be killed off right away by Mereoleona. But they actually kind of held their own in the chapter. I mean, they didn't really do any real damage to her. They did kind of attack her, and one attack did kind of like, it did land on her, but it didn't actually do any damage to her. It was just kind of like there to slow her down. And that's pretty much their plan for this entire chapter, is basically just to tire her out and slow her down throughout the entire chapter, because for the most part, they know that even against five against one, she still kind of outclasses all of them. So basically, their whole plan is to outnumber her, outsmart her, and basically tire her out until they get exhausted to the point where they're faster, they're stronger, and they can actually take her down pretty easily, like they tried to do at the end of the chapter. Though you gotta remember, though, again, it's 5v1, and she's still holding her own against all five of them, which just shows that basically Mereoleona is just such a huge asset to the Magic Knights, and it's gonna be a huge loss when they lose her at the end of the arc if she does end up dying. I mean, imagine if it was just 3v1, her against three elves. She probably actually would be able to take them out pretty easily. And that's saying something, because most of the Magic Knights, if honestly, I don't think most of the Magic Knights would be able to take even one elf on by themselves without taking significant damage. And the fact that she's possibly able to take on three by herself, that just goes to show just how strong she is. Because, I mean, it's 5v1 right now, which means her attention is split between all five of them. She's trying to focus, she's trying to split her attention between them so that she doesn't take that much damage, which makes it so that she can't actually attack them that much. Take two of them away, her focus is, it's still kind of split, but it's clearer. It's more focused on all three of them. She could take them out pretty easily, take out one, then the other, and then the last one by himself. It just wouldn't be a contest. And like I said, when it comes to the other Magic Knights, most of them, excluding the captains and vice captains, I guess, possibly won't be able to take on one Magic Elf by themselves without taking a lot of damage. I can guess that maybe captains like Yami, which we've already been confirmed, I'm pretty sure Yami isn't as strong as Mereoleona. Yami and the other captains could probably take on two elves by themselves and do significant damage. But like I said, the fact that she's possibly able to take on three, I'd even argue probably four by herself, this goes to show that she's actually that much of a badass. I mean, seriously, Asta used to be my favorite character in the series, but Mereoleona, she's right up there with him now. I actually might think I actually like her a little bit more, which is just such a sad thing that she's actually probably going to die at the end of this arc. So yeah, even though it's 5v1, they still know that their really only hope is to basically tire her out at this point, which she kind of comes aware of by the, like, halfway through the chapter. And after she gets to a certain point of exhausted and she realizes that she might not actually win this fight and or come out alive, she decides, fuck it, I'm going to take at least one of you guys out with me. So after a certain point, after one of them attacks her, she actually charges at him, which we find out actually was a member of her actual Magic Knight Order. Well, we didn't find it out, we already knew, but I actually kind of forgot who this guy was, because like I say, his father. But anyway, yeah, she charges right at him with the intent to kill him. And that's when Lyre comes in using two different types of magic. He uses spatial magic to jump in front of her, and he uses Yami's dark sword to actually slash at her, and it does a lot of damage. Like, to the point where you think she's dead, and then after, to add insult to injury, after he slashes her and she falls to the ground, I'm not sure if it was him or someone else, but they bombard her with light magic right on top of her. It looks like she's done for the count. And then right after Lyre turns around and is like, hey, I guess you're dead, she punches him in the face using like her full force. It looks like she burned off half his fucking body at that point. And then she just gets up blood all over the place, saying, you really think you're gonna kill me? Like, she basically just dares them, hey, if you're gonna try to kill me, actually do a good job of it. Dude, I don't know about you guys, but this fight actually reminded me a lot of the fight between Tenzin and the four members of the Red Lotus during Avatar: The Legend of Korra Season 3. Just basically the way this was structured, and the fact that she's doing this just like him to give her people, Asta and Sora, a chance to escape. Speaking of Asta and Sora, we actually do check in with them for a little bit in this chapter, and we see that basically the two of them are kind of arguing. Asta obviously wants to go back in there and help Mereoleona out because he knows that she probably won't be able to take all five of them by herself. Which just goes to show it's in his character. The guy would never actually leave a friend behind. He'd never abandon a teammate. Anyone, even an enemy, he would not lead them to die by themselves without actually trying to at least help them out. And it just goes to show that he's sticking true to his character. And of course, Sora's sticking true to his character. He wants to get the fuck out of there. He's like, alright, listen, dude. You don't have any magic ability, so you couldn't sense theirs. If we go back in there, we're going to die instantly. We wouldn't even be able to land a punch on them. There's no point. We're just going to get in her way. And he basically argues that if they go back in there, they will basically be throwing away her sacrifice of trying to let them escape. Which of course has Ash at the last panel that we see him kind of like confused about whether or not he should go back in there and help, or if he should, honor her sacrifice and try to get out there alive so he can fight another day. Now, this actually part of the chapter actually got me kind of thinking. Up until this arc, we didn't really have any significant deaths or significant losses on the Magic Knight side. So, I mean, not excluding we lost the Magic Emperor and the previous captain of the Crimson Lions. He's not dead, but he was taken out of commission pretty much permanently. But up until this point, besides the Magic Emperor, we haven't had any real deaths. So it had me thinking maybe Mereoleona won't actually die, because it seems like the series doesn't actually want to kill off any of the good guys. I mean, the Magic Knight, the Magic Emperor, he had to die off at some point, just so that someone else could take up the role as Magic Emperor. But other than that, I don't really see anyone else dying, especially after the way this chapter ended. If Mereoleona was going to die, this honestly would have been the best part of chapter 2 let her die off at. Because, I mean, honestly, if she's just going to get back up, I mean, sure, it shows that she's that much of a badass. And then we'll see her fight, if we see her fight again later or in the next chapter, then, like I said, it'll just show that she's that much of a badass. But, honestly, this was the perfect chapter to kill her off in if she was going to actually die. So, I'm kind of thinking that maybe Asta is going to say, fuck you, Sora, we're not going to go back, we're not going to, run on our teammate, we're going to go back in there and help her out. And, honestly, the two of them, even though Sora thinks that they wouldn't be able to land a hit, they actually would be able to go in there and actually save Mereoleona, because we already know that Asta has that one magic ability that he used during a tournament against Finral that actually lets him go in there. He can basically take out all 5 of them or distract all 5 of them long enough for Sora to grab Mereoleona and to get out of there. And then as long as Asta's not tired, he will be able to escape pretty easily, either using that same technique or basically just running for it. So yeah, well, I think it's a huge risk for them to actually go back in there. I honestly do think the two of them working together, if Sora could get his head out of his ass long enough, could actually manage to save her and get her out there alive, which, like I said, would be a good thing because she's a huge asset to the Magic Knights. It means she could take on 5 people by herself and come out pretty much on dead even. Then, honestly, they really need her on their side to give everyone else a power boost and to take on some elves later on in this war. Now, I also want to talk about something that Lyre mentioned in this chapter, and that's basically that he says that he's not going to let Asta get away because Asta's grimoire and his anti-magic sword belong to Lich. And that has me a little bit confused because, alright, in 2 chapters ago when we saw the flashback for Lich and we saw him getting his grimoire looked nothing really like Asta's. Now, then again, Asta's is kind of damaged and old and ruined, so, maybe previously it looked like that, but it doesn't have the same magical property that Lich had when we saw him through the flashbacks. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense for him to actually have Asta's anti-magic sword. Plus, every time we saw a reference, because we pretty much know at this point that Asta's inheriting his abilities from someone else, from some past person that used to have it. And every time we see flashbacks or reference to that, the person seems like he's kind of more demonic than an elf-looking person. So, I don't think that Lich actually was the previous owner of Asta's magic abilities or his anti-magic sword and grimoire. But we don't know enough about Asta's abilities and where they're coming from to actually talk about it really. So, I honestly don't know. I'm actually kind of interested to see why Lyre thinks that Lich actually deserves or actually is the owner of the anti-magic sword and Asta's grimoire. What his reasoning is and what the connection between the two of them are. But that's pretty much all that happened in the chapter. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. Do you think Mereoleona is as much of a badass as I am? I mean, seriously, dude. When the anime gets to this point, when anime gets to this arc, this fight between her and the 5 elves is probably going to be the highest rated fight in the entire series. But yeah, let me know in the comment section what you think about the fight. Do you think Mereoleona is going to die? Do you think Asta's going to go back in there to save her? And why do you think Lyre thinks that Lich deserves or is the actual owner of Asta's anti-magic sword and his grimoire? Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think, and catch you guys later. Like and subscribe to the channel, and yeah, like I said, catch you guys later. Peace.